Live. I am live. No announcement on this one. Didn't do any big announcements. I usually don't. So we'll see what happens. It's a Sunday. We'll see if anyone decides to log on and get in the comments for this live broadcast. I'll give it about a minute for people to get their notifications and all that. Well, there's a couple guys getting in, so that's cool. Talk about Valentine's Day today. Valentine's Day. So, and then you got Sweetest Day. Those are two big ones, right? Special days. Special days to prove your love to your oneitis, to the girl of your dreams. I'll talk about the relevance of these days. If they're even Are they even a thing? Do we care about these things? It's also steaks and BJ Day today too. So I think that we should maybe focus on getting a steak and getting other things. But see, for some of us, steak and BJ Day, that's every day or any day we want. That's how I run my life. So hopefully you can get you guys there if you're not there yet. Yeah. So we got a few on here, a few likes. Appreciate it. A few people jumping on. If you guys got questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat. And I'll get going. It's enough people for me to get going. So Valentine's Day, that's what today is. Is it relevant? Well, yeah. Okay. So there is historical relevance to Valentine's Day, but I don't care so much about that right now. Let's talk about your chick, right? Whether you're in an LTR. Nope. Next question. Jeremy. No. Nope. Not relevant. Good. So here's the thing. Question here. What do you think about plates using Valentine's Day to lock you down? Look, it's a very good question. A lot of plates will want to see where their priorities are on this day. So let's say you're dating 3 different women. Well, those women might want to see where they are on your priority list based on whether or not you choose to spend time with them or hang out with them. So days like today can be a situation where if you don't set the frame right and you're dating multiple women, you'll lose some of your plates because it'll become readily apparent that they're not a priority and that you're prioritizing another girl. That female jealousy will kick in and boom. Oh, so another question. It's a good one. Why am I in an LTR? You seem too manly. I do spin plates with my LTR. So it's like next level, right? We're pretty open about in that regards. So we're discreet about it. Now I'm on YouTube telling you how we can discreetly spin plates with my LTR. So there's a level of discretion lost there. But to be honest, my social circles aren't necessarily on my channel or getting on my live stuff, which is a good thing. But I've done presentations for John over at Modern Life Dating for his courses on running harems or running multiple women, having committed relationship where you allow other women into the relationship. So these are all things. All right. And these are all things that, that happened for me. Right. So that's kind of a next level thing, but why an LTR? Well, reason why an LTR is because it allows you to go deeper with that person that you're choosing to have in your life. So my LTR has proven or demonstrated to me that she is a better choice for a companion for me than other women out there. She demonstrated that through a lot of things over our development. So we started off as a played or as a casual relationship like everybody else does, but she was that cream that rises to the top, so to speak. So she's the one who kind of put herself into my frame and complements my life. And so she complements my life and she's very loyal to me. and she does that more than other people, and that allows me to be more open to her, both emotionally as everything else, right? So now I can have a deeper connection with her, and that deeper connection means better sex, means better experiences, means a lot more fun, means she's somebody I can rely on for things that I need taken care of in my life. And it's much easier to have that frame and maintain that with an LTR than maybe someone who's casual. For example, I wouldn't have somebody pick up my son from school if I'm doing something or busy or whatever, and my son has an emergency at school. I wouldn't have a plate do that. You know what I mean? That I would want somebody who I'm a lot closer to and who's loyal to me. All right. And so LTRs demonstrate that loyalty and over and above the other casual relationships, and they demonstrate that they're a good match and that they're a good complement to your life. And that's it. And most guys are going for that at some point. You bang so many girls, and it's fun, but you just kind of becomes, I don't want to say it becomes dull, but you just really don't care about it after a while. When you have an abundance with a lot of women, it's just you stop to care, you cease to care about the numbers, and you start focus on quality after a while. And so after years of having that abundance and still have that, my focus has become more on the quality of the relationships I'm having with women, not just the numbers. And when you focus more on that quality, then that sort of puts you into that LTR category, where you start having a bigger investment from the both of you in that relationship. And that leads to that commitment and how you design that commitment. But how you design your commitment, though, is up to you. That's how you want to work that. So, you can design your commitment where you have occasional casual other women that are involved in that relationship. Okay. So that's how a lot of guys can do things nowadays. And it's good. It's good for me, and it's good for her. And that's why we do it. All right. So, oh man, all these comments. Valentine's Day, though. I'll get back on Valentine's Day here for a second. Happy Valentine's Day. No female distractions allowed. Yeah. Don't have, but see, I don't allow females to distract me, though. That has to do with the frame that you're setting. You know what I mean? So even as a single person in casual relationships, excuse me, you're not allowing for it to be a negative distraction, we'll call it. All right. But here's the thing. Sometimes you need a break from what you're trying to focus on. Okay. You need those. You need those breaks. And you also have a reproductive drive. All right. A drive to have sex and a drive to have companionship with hot chicks. So taking a break from, what you're focusing on to have a good time with chicks and have good sex with chicks is healthy, and it's good. Now, the problem, though, is guys have a level of skill set that they're lacking in that. All right. So when I say skill sets lacking, I mean, they're unable to just bring women into their lives, have good relationships, good experiences, then shift focus back to what they're doing and their purpose and all that. They can't just do that flawlessly. We're bringing in the wrong kinds of women, or they're not dealing with the women that they bring in a way where it's not distracting to their purpose in their life and what they're doing. You know what I mean? And so that's where getting skill sets with game is so important. And getting skill sets with setting frame and having women in your frame is so important, because then the women that come in your life, they become complements. They become a happy addition to your life versus something that takes away or removes your energy, time, and focus on things that you need to be, focused on. Hopefully that makes sense. And that's why I mean, yeah, you don't want to chase women. You want to be on your purpose, of course, as a man, but by having the skill sets with women can't hurt you. That's number one. Women have only hurt you guys in the past, me too, because of a lack of skills. Okay. Anytime a woman has harmed me in the past, and even more than a short term, I mean, if you're seeing a girl and she comes out of frame or whatever, and you got to break up with her, kick her to the curb or something. Yeah, that can be emotionally distressing for a few days, but that's not like a long-term, damage. But whenever there's been like some serious longer term effects, right? Or some damage or, a serious, hindrance on my life with a woman, it had to do with my lack of skills, right? Every single time. My lack of skills with game, or my lack of skills with selection, or my lack of emotional stability and alpha frame in order to kick these girls to the curb and move on more quickly. All right. That goes back to vetting, right? So it's vetting and setting your standards and frame. Either I wasn't setting my standards appropriately, or I wasn't communicating or interacting with her in a way that was serving for both her and myself, or I was selecting the wrong chicks to be into my life as much as I allowed them to be into my life. And these are all skill sets, man. These are all skill sets that you have to develop. And that's why the channel's here. That's why I'm here. That's why some of my colleagues, on the Rule Zero crowd are here doing this. That's why people book consultations with me. A big reason is because we're going to develop your skill sets with women, so women become a complement to your life and not a distraction, and they become a happy addition versus a hindrance or problem. So what else we got? Do you think spending time with one plate on this day is pedestalizing one of them, especially when they're only casual? Or is it more complicated? Well, if you choose to spend time with a chick, let's say you're dating 3 people and you pick one to spend time with, you're picking the one that you like the best. Is it pedestalizing her? Well, no. Depends on how you do it. I'm going to get to that point. Okay. But your framework around this stuff should be, I don't really care about special days like that. We'll have our own special days. So you tell the chick you're dealing with, whether, casual or LTR, doesn't matter. Hey, we'll make our own special days. I don't need some contrived societal special day where, we have to pretend like we like each other on that day. That's for people who have, shitty relationships. Valentine's Day is for people who have trash relationships and who have to play the game and pretend they like their partner on special designated days throughout the year. That's never going to be us. So it's just another Sunday. We'll have our own days that we have and make up. That's your framework. Okay. And so what you're doing there is you're setting yourself apart from everyone else. Now, this is the part of setting frame. If you guys have watched my series on idealized isolation, where even as a casual partner, she realizes that the dynamic she has with you is unlike anything that anyone else is doing. All right. And so if you do what everyone else is doing, the obligatory Valentine's Day flowers and card, maybe some chocolate, let's go out to dinner, make reservations, wait for 40 minutes, even though we have a reservation. You know what I mean? All that bullshit. Okay. All that stuff is for beta males. All right. It's not for you if you're listening to my channel. Okay. All that stuff is bullshit beta male stuff. It is rules for betas to jump through. That's what that is. Okay. And so like, if you're like doing that and you're not setting yourself apart from all of the other dudes and relationships out there. And so that's not good for your frame. It's being ordinary is never good. All right. For a relationship, even casual one, even plates. Why is that? Because people are ordinarily unhappy in their relationships. All right. That's true. That's what the stats show. Okay. People are ordinarily unhappy with the people that they're dating in the selection. So if you do what everyone else is doing, you become ordinary, which means you are like everyone else and everyone else is unhappy. All right. And that's the framework that you're setting. Okay. Besides setting the framework that you're doing the obligatory thing. Well, who does that? Beta males, right? Males that don't have reproductive value. Okay, so that's a message you're sending to her hindbrain and her unconscious mind, her hypergamous brain, is that I don't have reproductive value. So I have to earn you through societal courting rules, like, sending the message and happy Valentine's Day and all that bullshit. You set the frame up before the day, not on the day. Okay. You set the frame up before the day, like as these things come up. Hey, just to let you know, I don't do Valentine's Day. It's just another Sunday for me. Then she might say, well, what do you mean? Or if she challenges that, or if she looks uncomfortable about that, just be like, because we'll have our days that are special to us. We don't need society to tell us that we have to pretend we like each other on a typical day, on some particular day. If it comes to that, then we're probably we shouldn't even be seeing each other. When you set that frame, you're setting yourself aside from everybody else. On a Tuesday, when she comes over and maybe you make a little dinner, a couple snacks, have a drink or two, and you bang her out, that should be more special to her than any Valentine's Day that she's ever done with any beta male or in any long-term relationship. You know what I'm saying? That's the framework. Okay. Hey, Tuesday is drink and sex day. That becomes your special day. Okay, versus trying to designate some stupid thing like that. So hopefully that makes a bit of sense. Let's see more comments here. So yeah, so you set that frame up ahead of time to answer the question, what about a casual plate or somebody? Set the frame up ahead of time, so Sunday is just a regular day. And then let's say the two girls that you're not going to hang out with on that day, if you want, first of all, you don't have to hang out with anybody today if you don't want to. That's the first thing. All right. But let's say you want to. It's a Sunday. Why not? Right. So Sunday, you're going to pick a chick to hang out with. Well, you pick your best one, right? The other two, you just say, hey, just another Sunday for me, and I got something else going on today. Let's link up next week. Done. Okay, that's simple. When you set the frame up ahead of time, you're not mitigating problems later. Okay, but a lot of times, unfortunately, what you guys do is you don't set that frame up ahead of time. So she expects that Valentine's Day is a day that you would consider special or whatever. She might consider 90% chance she's going to consider today to be just like every other socially conditioned dating situation. And then that turns into a test to see if you're seeing other women or to see if she's at least the top priority. And then if you didn't set the frame up ahead of time that, hey, today's just an ordinary day, our days are special that we spend together. We'll have our own special days and special times together. We don't need a designated day that society designates for that. When you set that frame up ahead of time, then when you don't see her on Valentine's Day and you see her Monday, Tuesday, it's fine. It's all good. You know what I mean? You might have a little text exchange. She'll probably text you or whatever. Yeah, enjoy your day, whatever. I'll see you. Yeah, I'll see you Wednesday, whatever it is. You got it? And so then it becomes no big deal. But if you haven't set that frame up, then she's probably thinking you're going to take out some special someone, or maybe you should. And then when you don't do it, now you become the a-hole, or maybe her status with you it becomes in question. And sometimes when a girl questions her status with you, that can cause her to try harder. But a lot of times it depends on your individual situation, because a lot of times I can go the other way where they stop trying, you know what I mean? And they end up not wanting to see you. They end up thinking you're an a-hole, and it ends up creating drama and problems because it kicks in that female jealousy. And remember, females just want to know that they're the top chick. Okay, that's their main thing. Their jealousy is on a primal sense is sparked from thinking they're not going to be the top chick, or at least be somebody that would be in that fold. You know what I mean? If they think other chicks have more priority than they do, that's when they get jealous. It's not so much, whether or not you're seeing other women in a casual sense. It's whether or not they're the priority or not. And so if you don't set the frame up properly, you will make them feel like they're not the priority, even though they might not be the priority, right? But when you make them feel that way, then that might give them second thoughts about wanting to see you or continue to see you. So that's something to think about for how you handle today. All right. Let's see what we got. LTR here, just found your channel. Thank you, bro. I learned a lot about details, not just general info. I'm in the love bombing coming backstage, and this shit kills me. I gave my best. I don't know. Here's the thing. Okay, so there's the honeymoon state. If you look, okay, love bombing is a strategy from narcissists and BPD women. Okay, and you don't want to be. You want to recognize that if that's a thing that's happening, and don't let those situations go into LTRs. Okay, you don't let an LTR happen until after you've been challenged. All right, because you don't even know if she can pair bond or not during the bombing phase. All right. Well, we call it bombing, but really just the honeymoon phase. Honeymoon phase, she has all the new feelings of a variety of this new person, which is you. She doesn't know you that well yet. And so she is filling the blanks in of who you are with what she thinks. It's a fantasy. You know, a girl goes on 2 or 3 dates with you, hangs out, she has like sex with you a couple times. You know, she's excited about you, you're a new partner, provided everything went well and that, you know, she has a lot of good feelings about her time with you, right? Provided things are going well, she's going to have all the good feelings for you, but she doesn't know your faults yet. You know, she doesn't know your quirks. She doesn't know the parts that make you human. Okay. So she fills in the blank with fantasy. Well, what happens is as you progress, that fantasy becomes confirmed or denied. Most, you know, it'll be both, a mixture of both. And the fantasy is no longer a fantasy after a period of time. It becomes reality. She starts to know who you are and knows all your tricks and all your bullshit. All right. Don't get into an LTR till she knows all your bullshit. All right. When she knows all your tricks and still wants to be with you and still has genuine burning desire for you and still has a bond to you, that's how you can truly vet out if this person has pair bonding capabilities. You know, this truly vet out if she sees you as an apex alpha. And she stays casual until that point when she starts to have that built up some time with you and have more of an understanding of you. All right. Now, the other thing is too, is how you keep that frame is going to determine how much excitement she has when it becomes when it moves into that challenge phase of a relationship. So you're in the new phase of the honeymoon phase or whatever. What happens is it transfers into what's called the challenge phase, where she starts to the relationship becomes challenged because, you know, is this going to have any longevity? Do I still want to stick around with this person? Now that I know who this person is, do I still want to be here? That's the challenge, right? That's when hypergamy questions happen. Is this guy my apex alpha? Is this the dude I want to cash in my casino chips with, or do I want to keep gambling out in the dating marketplace? All right. Those are those questions. That's what happens after honeymoon starts to wear off, right? Now, if you're maintaining frame, then the framework is the answer becomes yes to all those, all those questions or of her wanting to stick around. You know what I mean? The framework that you present and maintain in the relationship is what will cause her to want to stick around regardless of, the challenging questions she's asking herself now that she's gotten to know you better. All right. Stick around as a plate, stick around as it maybe move it more towards that commitment. Now, girls will try to move it towards a commitment during the honeymoon phase because they feel really good about you. And you're going to feel, some of you guys will feel obligated to do that, but don't. All right. Let some time pass. And here's how you know whether it's enough time is when we've had some arguments, right? Not that you should argue with a woman, refer to my video on that, okay? But when you've had some conflicts or when you've had distress and you see how she handles the distress, or you've had to set a hard boundary where it becomes a thing of, is she going to stick around or not? And then she chooses to. right? These are things that are challenging to a relationship. When you have those things, that's when you can start to, and the results are good. You set that boundary, she gets angry, maybe you guys don't talk for a day or two, but then she comes back around, you talk about things like an adult, and you move forward, those things, right? When these things are turning out well and she still is demonstrating genuine burning desire for you, and not just still, because there's this idea that her feelings will decline after the honeymoon phase, because that's what usually happens. But I'm going to tell you guys, when you maintain frame properly, those feelings don't decline like that. They actually get deeper and more intense for her, especially during sexual situations. When you maintain that frame, even when she moves into challenges, what happens is she overcomes those challenges and then feels closer or more assured and better about this relationship she's developing with you than before she had the challenges. All right. That's how she draws closer to you and has better feelings, more intense feelings for you than she did during honeymoon. So that is a frame thing. Now, what often happens though is guys screw up, or she leaves those challenges feeling less about you or less about the relationship. You know what I mean? She feels less confident about you in the relationship after those challenges. All right. When that happens, which is what normally happens, because guys get in the relationships, by and large on accident, right? And so they're not controlling the frame. And so then that's what happens, right? And when that happens, things are a little bit less, but things should actually be better, during that phase. And don't give away your commitment until you start seeing that stuff happening. Even if you really like the girl and that's something you want, don't do it. All right. You need to have these challenges, and she needs to be challenged and see if she overcomes them. Otherwise, you're giving your commitment away to somebody that's simply not going to work out with. And I just don't know why you would do that. If you already know it's not going to work out, I mean, we assume that there is an end to all things, right? But that being said, we're expecting, when you give away that commitment, why would you give it away then if you know it's not going to work out? Why not just keep it casual? You get what I mean? So keep going. Comments. All right. How many other women do you date in addition to your LTR? Yeah, fuck it. All right. I get it. It's hard to say. I mean, it varies. You know what I mean? Generally speaking, I mean, I'll probably talk about those details in a frame course outside of YouTube. There's a level of discretion. So that's a big part of the thing with harem game, depending on how you're running it, is, there's a level of discretion here. Like, I don't need, families and people. And so I have a relatively, we could say, normal social circle. So if you're going to navigate, and this is a really good lesson for you guys who are coming into this red pill stuff, right? The world does not accept this material or this information. Okay. Even though women are far happier in a relationship with a guy who, we could say runs things and with more of a red pill knowledge, right? I mean, I do this so men and women can have happier, better relationships with each other. Whether it's I say the word relationship is just a catchword, though. It could be casual, right? It could be the plate thing, right? Or it could be LTR or whatever. However you design your relationships, however you want those things to happen in your life, I have this channel around so you can do that better. In part, the other part is so men can become more alpha and have more of a mental balance and mental resiliency. So those are like the two, main reasons I'm around here. So with that, you're going to be navigating, though, a blue-pilled world, all right? You're going to be navigating around people who are not as happy as you, all right? Now, some of you guys come to this knowledge, the red pill thing, and you're actually not as happy as you should be. You're still in that rage phase, or you haven't quite figured out how to balance this new information with, how to approach these relationships and interactions with women with this new information. You know what I mean? Might have some resentment. There's a lot of things going on. So some of you guys aren't quite in the happiness area yet, but when you guys digest this stuff and start actioning things, you're going to have better interactions, better relationships with people in general and with women in your life. But the rest of the world isn't going to see that. They're not going to understand it, you know? And your lifestyle and way of being and your thoughts even are going to be a direct challenge to their paradigm and their whole way of life. And they're not going to like it. They're going to resist it. They're going to judge you for it. So let's picture that you are in business. Let's say one of my businesses is real estate. I don't do too much with it anymore, but I do take clients for real estate still. And so I have a real estate business. If my real estate clients know and think that I have my, chick that is almost 15 years younger than me, you know what I mean? That's dedicated to me. And then there's other girls involved in that and so on and so forth. Let's say that, that church going insurance agent who's in a miserable marriage, sexless marriage, but it has a certain moral paradigm around that. They're going to look at me and judge the hell out of me. They're going to judge the hell out of my girl. They're going to judge her family. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like her family and people in our circles, they're just not going to get it. They're not going to understand it. So you have to have, in order to be, what are my choices? Well, I can tell everybody on the planet to go F off and go live on, an island somewhere. And that is a choice. That's fine. If you can do that, that's great. Another choice, is that because I value these relationships with people, even though they're not on board with this material, they don't understand it. I still value those things. Like, my mom or my brother, my siblings don't understand what I'm doing and don't understand what I'm talking about half the time. And they're not even interested. And that's okay. I still have good relationships with them. You know what I mean? And so I don't need to not be able to run my business. If real estate was my primary, let's say, business, it would prevent me from getting clients, because people would go, oh, he's this kind of a person. They would judge me. And then they would consider whether they're going to give me referrals for business or not. It could actually directly affect, my bottom line there, with that. And so there's a level of discretion that you have to have when you're in the red pill thing in general. You have to be discreet and you're careful about who you're sharing information with. Now, my personal relationships and how many girls and all that stuff, I'm keeping that discreet for a reason. I want you to focus on my content and getting the results. So my clients, especially, they know that I have the game because they come to me and they're trying to game a girl, or they're going through their dating apps and they're, showing me like text exchanges, and I'm telling them what to say back and how to make that happen. And then boom, they're getting meetups. They're getting more interaction with hot girls than they've gotten before. They're getting sex, all that good stuff. And it's real, it's tangible. So that's the results. I want you guys to focus on the results you would get from the material. As far as my personal life though, I'm going to be pretty limited in what I share about that. Now, in an enclosed course, though, like my frame course, I can be as open as I want because we're not recording it, putting it on YouTube, and allowing any of my potential social circles to latch onto it and, judge my chick or me for that. So I already say too much anyway, and I don't want to get too far into it more than that for those reasons. Let's say, happy birthday, Mingo 56. When will chicks wake up? I wouldn't expect anybody to wake up on a large scale, dude. All right. Abandon that thought or idea. All right. There is going to be no large scale waking up. You know what I mean? Laughing at high quality woman. That's pretty funny. Let's see. I like your. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I got weapons to my left. That's all right. Okay. Still dusting off after crawling out of my train wreck. Lost 100 pounds, getting investment property going, started dialing it in with guys like you and Cooper for the next steps. Good, man. So that's good. And that's what you want to do, dude. At the end of the day, your sexual market value and what you're doing and accomplishing and the value you bring to the world as a man is going to greatly affect the level and quality of women that you bring into your life. And so let's talk about the issue like quality woman, quote unquote. Like we joke around that about that a lot, like a quality woman, right? I don't know how to frame that verbiage because there's certainly a difference between a chick who can maintain loyalty, for example, and has pair bonding abilities and has certain values behind her, and one that doesn't. You know what I mean? There's certainly a difference between those two chicks. Okay, so I mean, they're not all the same. They are the same though when it comes to their primal hindbrain drives to a degree. That's where more women are statistically similar. So I think like we get off the rails because there is when we joke around the quality woman thing, we're talking about the Madonna whore complex, right? Which has been around for a long time. That means, and I had this, I was guilty of this too, which is where you believe like, okay, there's these good girls over here who would never do these bad things. And then there's the whores over here. There's the bad girls that do all the bad things, you know? And so the promiscuous girls that do all the bad things and that would cheat and that would do all that stuff, that's a different type of, that's like they're two different species. You know, that's that blue pill mindset. This idea, it's this myth that there are these bad girls over here, and then you got to find the good girls over here to settle down with. All right. The reason that's a myth is because they're all bad girls in their chimp brains. All right. Their hind brains, they're all bad girls. They all want to do bad girl stuff. Okay. Which means they're all capable of doing those things and most likely have done those things at different parts of their life, or in different parts of their existence. You know what I mean? So, for example, well, she's a good girl. She doesn't sleep on a guy with guys on the first date, but that good girl probably has had a few one night stands, at least one, maybe two, right? So if the conditions were enough and the guy was hot enough, maybe she's drunk enough, he's hot enough, and one thing led to another, as they say, right? Well, good girl is now doing bad girl things. You see what I'm saying? And so that's the myth. That's why that's a myth, because their hindbrain drives that power their sexual decision making. Those things are pretty similar. The drive to want to urgently sleep with the alpha guy after, right after meeting him. Okay, that primal drive to take that guy's seed and turn it into a baby because he demonstrates the alpha traits that would make for a good genetic child. That's just instincts. And those instincts are the same regardless of any chick that you have. So your little good girl Angel has those same instincts as the bad girl. Okay, the bad girl garden tool that you would never want to, either commit to or sleep with or whatever. So that's the thing. When we make fun of the whole idea of a quality woman, it's because guys have this concept in their head that there's these mythical good girl unicorns out there, and that none of these good girls have these bad girl tendencies or traits. Like somehow it's just not a part of who they are. And you got to get that thing out of your head. Okay. Every single girl on earth, all right, is a bad girl in the right circumstance or wrong circumstance, depending on how you look at it. So the key is you want her to be a good girl for everybody else and a bad girl for you. That's how you want things to go. She's your bad girl. Okay. That's what you want. Now, the girl that's capable of being your bad girl, certainly a higher, for lack of a better term, quality than girls who are not capable of that. All right. Girls capable of pair bonding, girls who have a good set of values, girls with a little bit higher IQ. Like, yeah, we're not going to bang their college degrees. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just simply not being a dummy, right? Not being a dumbass is a pretty good thing to look at, because that means that they can delay gratification and, have a little bit of discipline, have a little bit of forethought when they make decisions on what they're doing, so they don't end up accidentally cheating on you, or some of these stupid scenarios that some of these dumb girls end up in, and then they don't take responsibility for themselves, right? Having a sense of personal responsibility is a huge quality for a woman to have, right? So don't think that all women are equal in the sense, nobody is equal, all right? So don't think that all women are the same either, because that's a mistake. No, there is no good girl, bad girl, okay? They're all bad girls in the right circumstance. So you want to pick those girls, the quality girls, if you want to call it that, are the ones that'll be your bad girl, all right, and nobody else's bad girl, okay? If we're talking commitments. So hopefully that makes sense. Boom. Looking for some questions. Do you think holding frame with woman becomes more easily the more experience you have? Yeah. Yeah, dude. It's a skill set. It's like anything else. You have certain primal drives and everything, but those primal drives can send you off the rails too. Understand, all you guys have primal drives to do alpha things and to do beta things. They all have it. All right. And it's not just alpha beta either. It's also just communication styles and understanding the sexual marketplace and understanding how women think and being able to read between the lines. Read not just, hear not just what they say, but what they're not saying and everything in between. These are all skill sets. So yes, the more the more you time you spend, the more experiences you have with women, the better you can get at those skill sets. Now, notice I said the better you can get, because there's plenty of guys out there who are getting drunk and getting laid all the time, who have very little skill sets with women, or they get certain amount of skill sets in getting laid, but then they don't have it when it comes to the LTR, right? So skill is like, it's just like anything. You could just go and get into bar fights all the time and still suck at fighting. You'll get some sort of reactions built in from getting your face punched in, but what would be better probably is to go to a gym and get some training. All right. And then if you have experiences, then after that, that training kicks in. And in the training, you're creating experiences through sparring and scenarios, right? And then if the thing happens in real life, you don't suck at fighting. All right. A trained fighter is that does reality, I'll say reality training, meaning actual exchange against a resisting, unpredictable opponent. The training mimics reality, okay, is going to always be a better fighter than a guy who's just a drunk fat guy who gets thrown out of bars every weekend. You know what I'm saying? Like that pro MMA fighter is going to beat the crap out of the town like loser that's been in a few street fights at any point, if as long as an MMA fighter knows what he's doing on the streets. But you get what I'm saying. All right. So it's like just having experiences by themselves, which is why I don't focus on notch count. It's an arbitrary number. A guy could have slept with 100 women and he have very little skills. I mean, maybe he's just paying for hookers out in South America or something, right? Well, that's not really developing skills, right? Or you could have a guy with half those notches or half those experiences who developed good skills with women, or particularly developed skills in their area that they're in. So maybe they're in a relationship and they have really good relationship, skills in that relationship, if that was their thing, you know what I mean? And so it's both. It's not just experience, because empty experience without developing skills isn't going to help you guys very much. All right. Let's see. She loved me so long as I've been beta. For sure, it was my fault. Okay. Thanks, guys, for the comments and all the good comments. What's this question? What are your thoughts on what Stardust called male mother need? I don't know what my thoughts are on that. I don't really watch much content. I actually I do things in practice, done things in practice for a long time. I coach a lot of guys and have consulted with a lot of guys on their practice. So they're out in the field. And so that's the field results. And then I do a lot of research and development on studies and things of that nature, like evopsych and psychology and things like that, and to include therapy modalities that I use with guys like NLP and EMDR and hypnotherapy and stuff like that. So that's where I spend my time. I really don't. I listen to other people because I enjoy them sometimes, but I don't know who Stardust is or what a male mother need is. I mean, maybe I'll have an opinion on it, but I need to know what that is first. All right. I probably already know what the thing is, but I don't know that term for it. Seems as if your SMV is more important for you holding frame and her wanting to stick around than your game is. Is it more important? I don't know that it's a contest between the two. SMV is important and game is important. Game is a part of your SMV though. You know what I mean? So the amount of the game that you have, what is game? Game is just being able to communicate with, in this sense, all right? Game isn't being able to communicate with women in a manner that you get your needs or what you want met, okay? So you're getting what you want out of the deal met based on your communication skills with the opposite sex. It's kind of a loose definition of game. And your ability to communicate and seduce women is part of your SMV altogether. So they go together. Now, as game, you could have all the money and muscles in the world, but without game, there's only going to be there's going to be a limit to the desire that you can build in a woman. All right. So you need to be able to speak to her hindbrain and her primal sexual drives and triggers in order to create and manifest that desire in her. There's so many situations where celebrities get kicked to the curb, dumped, or cheated on by hot girls, guys with money, looks, and status. What are they lacking? They're lacking game. All right. So it's just, you have to have it. You have to, if you expect to be successful. And unfortunately, I think there's a thing that happens. A lot of guys with money, status, and, high SMV or whatever, they don't think they need to worry about game because they'll have hot women wanting to sleep with them. But the problem is, if she can create a experience of higher desire for a lower status man, it creates confusion. She may end up going for that low status man. She might not stick around, right, for that guy with the higher SMV, if that makes any sense. So yeah, your game is part of it. I don't know that we separate that. I know, Jerry, I know I need to get a super chat. I need to monetize, bro. I got so many things I need to do. All right. So we need to put quality girl in air quotes. Yes. Exactly. Whenever I say quality girl, put it in air quotes. All right. I agree that ability to take responsibility for their mistakes and issues is the key. Have they done some work to understand their issues and work on them? Yeah. So let's look at work for a minute. So can a woman self-improve and work on herself? Absolutely. Okay. She can. I know that some of you guys think that she can't or whatever, but she can. Here's the thing though. You got to understand how a woman processes information. It's different than a guy's. She has to have emotional buy-in in order to make changes in herself, her personality, or improve herself or whatever. And so without the emotional buy-in, she doesn't do it. Now, if she is wanting you because she sees you as an apex alpha and she is wanting, she's entering and getting into your frame and she wants to be more valuable to you, then that can be the idea of not having you, all right, potentially because of flaws that they have and things they need to improve, or the idea that if they improve these things, they could get you, so to speak. That can be the emotional buy-in they need to make changes. This is why a girl is more likely to do things to work on herself in the beginning of a relationship more so than the end when a guy's lost frame. You know what I mean? Now, she might make changes at the end because of the payoff, and those changes will be usually going to the gym and looking hotter because she's looking to break up and monkey branch, and that's a whole nother thing. But the point is women need that emotional buy-in. This is why young girls are usually a disaster for a long-term commitment. All right. And that's why you keep them as plates until they become a little bit more mature. Because young 21-year-old hot girl has no motivation to self-improve anything because she bases her self-improvement or ability, her desire to do that on what her environment is telling her, and her environment or her social proof or whatever, her social circles are all telling her how amazing and awesome she is. You know what I mean? Even though she's not. And so there's several things a girl needs to do to make herself better as a 21-year-old girl, and she has none of the stimulus from the environment to tell her that. And so you become that one person without frame, without her seeing you as an apex alpha, just maybe a guy that you matched or something on a Tinder or whatever. You become that one. If you become that one person to tell her flaws or to tell her she needs to improve on something, all of a sudden you're the a-hole because everybody else is saying, how amazing she is because she's, pretty and 21 years old and she's just a girl, right? Okay. Well, when she becomes, 28 years old and realizes she has had none of the results that she's wanted in her, sexual decisions, and other than short term, that she's been kicked to the curb a bunch. She's turning 30 soon. She's not getting as much attention from dudes. And in fact, her environment is starting to tell her that she needs to do things different. Her social circles aren't telling her anymore that she's just pretty and fun and 21. You know what I mean? Her social circles are expecting her now to be responsible for her bullshit. Now she starts going, oh boy, gee, maybe I should make some improvements. All right. So that's how it works with women. So women who have had the emotional buy-in to make the improvements, have done that work, yes, they're often a better choice than somebody who hasn't. So, question, is being a single father low value to women? No. If a girl is in your star dusk, oh, okay. Well, send a link or I don't know. Is this somebody I need to look? Just explain it, bro. I don't fucking look up Stardust. I don't know what the hell that is. All right. So, anyway, single father. Yeah, dude, bro. Like, no, it's not. Listen, first of all, it depends on how you present it. I've had guys, a couple guys actually want to coach with me on this. Some guys are pretty alpha, high SMV, concerned because they have a kid and they're concerned that, girls, especially younger ones, aren't going to want to hook up with them. Nah, that's BS. It's all about the frame you present. You know, if I'm a single guy, some young girl is not going to come near my kid. All right. I'm not going to, I don't need to lie about it, but all she needs to know is that, she's not entering a beta family situation where you're expecting her to be mommy. That if you're the alpha fun guy who's going to have some sex with her, have some fun with her, then drop her off, she's all about it all day long. It's all about the frame you set. It's not the same. Yeah, okay, it's not the same. We look at a single mom as being lower value, and for good reason. There's good reasons to think that. They don't look at guys the same way. In fact, they'll often want to qualify to you and be a part. That becomes an anchor where they can be a part of your life more. You know what I mean? Like if they want that commitment, they're going to want to meet your kid. They're going to want to develop a relationship. They want to show you she's a good mom, stuff like that. If she's in your frame and qualifying to you, having a kid doesn't harm you at all. In fact, it helps you. Game is what I need the most work on. All right. Well, let's work on it, man. All right. Is this a question? It is. Okay. So, hi, Paul. My friends with benefit LTR 5 or 6 sent me flowers and a poem asking me to be her Valentine. Completely ignored that, was enjoying my day without her until now. Could still visit her at her place. Should I? Well, do you want to? That's the question. So, first of all, you only see her as a 5 or a 6. So I think that your focus needs to be on finding better quality women. Right. Women that you're a little bit more excited about. If I'm into a chick, she's generally not a 5 or 6. Okay. And generally speaking, yeah, I'm excited to go hang out with her. Not overly excited in some weird, beta way, but I'm looking forward to hanging out with her. I'm looking forward to spending time with her. So if you're not looking forward to that, then maybe you need to reconsider your choices for women and make some space for new ones. All right. That's my advice there. But who cares? If you want to see her, go see her. If you don't, then don't. That's the difference. All right. You're doing it on your terms, not doing it to earn someone else. So that's the difference between alpha and beta behavior. An alpha guy can buy flowers for a girl and give a girl flowers and have it be completely alpha. Okay. He's doing it because he wants to, because it, seems like a good idea or whatever at the time he gets it. It's something that he feels like doing. He's not trying to earn her. He's not trying to qualify to her. He's just doing something nice and random and part of the seduction process. Okay. And she's, looks at that as appreciative of that. She would be appreciative if he just showed up and brought nothing. When she sees something like that and it's not done in some simpy way, it makes her want to qualify to that guy more. Holy shit, this guy just brought me this. I need to step my game up. Brings actually a little bit of dread into the picture when an alpha does something like that and does it in an alpha manner. All right. Beta goes to bring flowers. Okay. It's because he screwed up. They got an argument and he's sorry. All right. Or it's because he's trying to earn her. Oh, it's a special day. I better do something. Oh, it's your birthday flowers. Oh, it's your, or I bring flowers every Friday, fresh, whatever. It's like he's trying to earn her with this act of, it's like the beta male chimpanzees offering fruit to the female so that she, or grooming so that she, has sex with them. Whereas the alpha male just sort of sits there and she's after the alpha male during ovulation for sex. It's that sort of dynamic. You know what I mean? So the same act, I'm just picking that, what would be normally considered a real simpy beta act. Giving a girl flowers is completely different when an alpha does it and the girl's in that guy's frame versus when a beta does it. All right. So the difference is, what the hell do you want to do? So when it comes to that question, is this alpha or is this beta? Ask yourself this question. Am I doing this to earn her, qualify to her, or am I doing this because it's something I want to do? If the answer is it's because I want to do it, cool, it's alpha. The answer is because I'm trying to earn somebody else, or I'm trying to make somebody like me better, or I'm trying to qualify to somebody else, or seem higher value to this person by doing this thing, then there's your answer. All right, those are the answers. Now, the key is not to lie to yourself, though. That's where people screw it up. They lie to themselves. All right. So, how long does it take realistically to get your game from 0 to 10? Well, it depends on the type of material you get on. I've done it. It's took me years to get to where I'm at, but so I can't really say, man, because it's going to vary per person too. Your personality makeup make all the difference in the world. That's like asking, where does it, how long is it going to take for me to build like this, a ton of muscle and have a really good physique, that maybe is stage worthy or something, competition worthy for bodybuilding or something like that, to use an example. Like, well, if one guy has a lot of genetic, for example, physical things to overcome, and it might take him a lot longer, you know what I mean, than another guy who has genetic gifts, And so there's that element of it. Some guys are going to be more naturally alpha and easier to coach to be better at game. And some guys are going to have a lot more difficulty. Don't get hung up on that. Anybody can get from 0 to a 10, just depends on the amount of work that you want to put into it. But I will say this, okay, as far as primal drives are concerned and being a balanced alpha male, your drive to mate exceeds your drive to survive. All right. It's called sexual selection versus natural selection. We just look at peacocks, for example, those big feathers aren't helping them very much for predators. Guys will put their lives and asses on the line for the opportunity to mate. All right. And not being able to mate is an existential threat or fear. So getting good at game and getting good at solving this reproductive problem, whether you choose to be with someone or not, whether you choose a relationship or no relationship, whether you choose, let's say, monk mode or no monk mode, whatever we're talking about. Okay. Guys who choose monk mode are usually doing that out of necessity because they don't have game. That's a usual thing. Not if that's you right now. If you're in monk mode and you do have game, I mean, you're an exception, okay? But most guys don't do well with women, so they go into monk mode because that way that they can make a virtue out of that necessity of virtue, right? So don't do that. Don't lie to yourself. But solving your reproductive problem is one of the key components to being a balanced alpha guy. All right. That allows you to work on your purpose in life and not worry or care about women and solving that problem. When you can solve the reproductive problem, then you don't care about, you don't worry about solving it. It becomes a non-issue then. And all your focus can then go into other things. All right. How do you counteract someone playing hard to get, but showing high interest? Yeah, just behave as if, dude. Like she's gonna end up in the bedroom with you, whether it's today or next week, you know? So set your frame, set your standards, set up the date. You know, she doesn't bite on it or is wishy-washy about it, then okay, well, let me know if you change your mind, move on. She goes seek attention from you, cool. Go to set up the hangout or the date or the meetup again. She's wishy-washy, doesn't do it again. Cool. And, you know, put your attention elsewhere. At some point, she seeks attention for you, let's say some more. Well, what's her motivation now? You have to ask yourself, you know, is she really interested? She's showing interest, or is she, what's she interested in? She interested in your attention while she boosts her self-esteem up to go bang another guy? Or is she actually interested in exploring something with you? If her actions are demonstrating that she would rather have your attention rather than actually meeting up with you, then there's your answer, right? And then, you know, to move on from that. What's your experience with the honeymoon period? How long does it usually last? Well, this is going to depend on the game of the guy. So some guys who have really good game, that honeymoon phase will last actually longer. The more alpha the guy is and the more game he has, the longer that honeymoon phase can last. Actually, right? Which can be a good, it can actually be a bad thing though. All right. This has hindered me before, where I had, my game was so tight that I'd have a girl in that phase and in that frame for like a year, you know, or more. And then those challenges, and this is before I had as much knowledge as I do now, I'd allow myself, this is why I warn you guys, to wait for that challenge phase, because I would allow myself to get into a more than just casual relationship with somebody before those challenges started happening. And and I did that because everything was so awesome and my frame was good and everything appeared to be good. But the reality was my game was to a point where, in the seduction level, was to a point where, you know, she stayed in that honeymoon phase for forever. Well, the problem is then I don't get to see her default personality, right? So she's always showing up, qualifying to me and showing up as her best. I don't get to see that girl's default when she's at her worst, because she's never showing up at her worst. During the honeymoon phase, they don't show up at their worst usually. All right. When they get to know you, are comfortable with you, and they have that sense of relationship there, and the fantasy of you is now more of a reality, which however that looks, that's when they are more relaxed and will show, you know, their flaws. And there's going to be days you know, you'll see her at her worst during the challenge phase. And if it takes a year to get there, well, now you've invested a year into a person that maybe you shouldn't have, because you realize that who she really is isn't who you want to be with, you know? So that's a mistake you can make. You don't want to make that mistake. Okay. You don't want to X out all your other plates and opportunities, find yourself in an LTR with a girl that isn't a good match, but you just happen to have such good game and such good frame in the beginning that that honeymoon phase just lasted forever. So, I mean, that's why, you know, definitely before you put pen to paper or cohabitate, I recommend at least a 2 year period, about a 2 year period, year and a half to 2 years, but more than some arbitrary number. Cause it's not so much how long you would, you know, wait to give your commitment up. It's not a length of time thing. It's an experience thing. When do these challenges happen? Now, for most guys though, honeymoon phase is over in like 60 days, 60 to 90 days, maybe. So for most dudes, average relationship is probably 2 to 3 months. All right. But if she's really excited about you, your SMV is high, your status is high, she's really qualifying you, and your game is good, and some of your frame control is good, that 90 days can last 6 months, 9 months. It could last a long time. So just be aware of that. That can actually be a hindrance, you know what I mean, in your vetting process. I'm not saying don't have good frame, don't have good game with the girl. Just know that this is the case and set up opportunities to vet her out and see her in challenging situations, you know, and see more of who you actually are versus the game that you're presenting, right? And use that as kind of a measure to vet them out a little bit more quickly. You don't necessarily want to ruin or destroy your honeymoon phase. Again, once she's past the honeymoon phase, if you're doing everything right, you're actually going to elevate rather than, you know, decline in desire. But yeah, it's just something to be aware of. Let's see, more questions. Basically, male mother need, basically another term for oneitis, but with the idea that we're subconsciously wired for it. How do you overcome oneitis or the wish for it? Okay. Overcoming the wish. All right. So, all right. That's a good question. Oneitis question. Whew, grab a little water here. So, oneitis. All right. How do you overcome that? Well, here, how do you not get into that, right? So when you're lacking in yourself, your own sense of value and your own sense of emotional stability and sense of emotional strength, when you're lacking, there may be a tendency to want to bring somebody in to, you know, satisfy that need for you. You're going to want somebody to be this you need to be loved by someone, basically, for lack of a better term. I know love is kind of a catchphrase or a container word, but you know, that's what you have this need to be loved from someone. It's actually a very it's a weakness inside of you. And so internal game is going to help that. You know, you can have a desire to have, of course, relationships and, you know, have good experiences, good human connections. You know, being loved is fine and everything, right? But it's not coming from a place of scarcity or emptiness. So that's the first thing. If you're coming from a place of scarcity, emotional scarcity and emptiness, right? Then you're going to enter these relationships with attaching right away and having these unhealthy attachments, because that's what oneitis is. Oneitis is an unhealthy attachment. It's okay to have a healthy attachment to a woman, okay, but having an unhealthy one where you're wanting her to be the cure to your problems, the cure to your emotional distress, the cure to your emptiness, so on and so forth, that's not healthy. All right. And that's what happens with oneitis. Now, I don't know this dude's theory any deeper than what you said in the chat, but it's talking about male mother need. Okay. So what he might be referring to is this: as men, as we grow and formulate our sense of identity, and as we mature emotionally as children, we don't actually have an identity yet, you know, when we're a baby. Okay. And then we start to develop that over time. And we're developing that identity with caretakers. The primary caretaker tends to be a female. Okay. Primary caretaker is usually mom. All right. Which is fine. Moms are more equipped for that job than dads. They just are, genetically speaking. So that caretaker, is mommy. Okay. Mommy tells us we're good enough and smart enough and gives us a hug when we feel sad. And, some teacher at school is usually a woman, and she puts a star on your forehead when you do complete your assignments on time. You get what I'm saying? We get all the validation and all that stuff from women. All right. And particularly our mothers. But the thing of that is, some point becoming a man involves breaking the need for that validation. I mean, it's hard to define. Like, when's the definition point of when a boy becomes a man, right? But I think a good benchmark, maybe, I don't know what you guys think, maybe, is where that boy does no longer needs mommy, okay, to validate him and who he is. When a boy no longer needs a woman, or no longer needs mother to give him that validation, okay, and that sense of emotional and mental security, that's when that boy becomes a man. All right. But by that definition, a lot of men are really men right now, even if they're in their 40s and 50s, right? Because they're constantly seeking validation from a woman. That's validation from mommy, right? That's where that comes from. So what happens is, a lot of guys, most guys, they, become adults, they leave the house or whatever it may be, and they seek a woman that will give them those feelings of validation and emotional security and self-worth in the same way that their mothers did. Okay. That is a thing that happens, that though is a demonstration of a lack of emotional strength and emotional security, and a lack of sense of value within yourself. All right. You should never need really a woman for that. Doesn't mean you won't get that, but you don't need it, you see. And so guys who need that validation from a woman, they're the ones who tend to have that oneitis, right? Because now they get into a relationship, and now it's this woman who is a source of his emotional security and sense of emotional self. And he feels good about himself based on what his wife or girlfriend thinks about him, and so on and so forth. Okay. And then when she becomes unattracted to that, because see, that's very beta. All right. What ends up happening is, a girl doesn't want to be your mommy. Okay. When a girl is your sexual partner, she wants you to be that alpha man that leads the relationship. She wants you to be the source of strength, not the other way around. And so when she becomes mommy, even if she tries to put herself in the role, thinking from social conditioning and other things that that's a role that she wants to be in, when she becomes that, dude, her sexual desire for you dries up, goes away. And so oftentimes dudes get the oneitis, and the chick, her desire then goes away. It's like evaporates. And then she's trying to figure out what happened, because there's this guy who has oneitis for her and is qualifying to her like a little bitch. And that's not the same guy she hooked up with and was, aroused for initially. And when it's that confusion and smoke clears, she ends up pulling away from the relationship or leaving the relationship, going someplace else. And now the guy's stuck with a breakup and having this obsession for this girl and having her on a pedestal where she doesn't belong, because that's what mommy took care of him, right? It was that dynamic. So I don't know if what's his dick or whatever was talking about that, but that's what that is. And the key to that, to not doing that, is to have a sense of strength in yourself. I called this channel and this company Apex Mindset, instead of like, getting bitches and getting money or something else. I don't know, right? Like, there's a million things I could have called this. And I call it Apex Mindset. Why is that? Well, besides the fact that mental resiliency and fitness and becoming more alpha is a big part of the message here with what I'm presenting with my company, but it's also, it's because having healthy relationships, whether it's casual or something more, is predicated on your internal frame. It's predicated on how you show up as a man. It's predicated on this right here. Okay. What's between your ears, and your emotional self-control and your sense of mental resiliency. All right. So we need to build that in you. If you're mentally resilient and you don't require validation from a woman, you've grown up from a boy to a man. A boy will always need validation from mom, and that's okay, because he's still growing and, getting his identity in order. But once you become a man, you have your identity, and you're solid in who you are and the value you provide. the sexual market value you have to women, okay, you don't care about a woman's opinion in that sense. All right. You're not validating, you're not seeking validation from that woman. And you're not going to then have oneitis. You're not going to attach to a woman who isn't qualifying to you, right? Who isn't demonstrating that she has high desire for you. You know what I mean? Not going to do that attached to a woman because she gives you sex and, has some good feelings about you early on in some relationship. When the relationship progresses, you're not going to have an unhealthy attachment to her because you need her to, validate your self-esteem. You see what I'm saying? That's the difference. That's the difference. So not oneitising, that's what that is. All right, let's see. Ooh, getting mouth dryness from talking. Damn. What, an hour, 15 minutes? That's cool, though. We're having fun. Let's see. How long does it realistically? Okay, we said that already. How do you contrast someone? Okay, that one we did already. Let's see. What is? Oh, there's a question mark. If I miss you, that's just because I missed you. It wasn't because I tried to miss you. All right. Been with my LTR for 11 years, and she seems to have a bit of oneitis. Okay, for you. Sees me as her best only option before or after the wall. Anything I should be aware of given that context? Well, I mean, I don't know, man. Is that creating a problem for you? She should have, if she's in your frame, dude, she should have, it's different. Her attachment she should have a good attachment, a healthy attachment to you. I don't know what else to say about that. I mean, and I don't know what you mean by oneitis. So, I mean, if she sees you as the best and the only option that she wants, then you're fine. You're doing good. I don't know what else to say about that. Other things to be aware of is, I mean, just stay the course, man. Keep doing what you're doing. I guess there could be one thing I could say, which is make sure that you're creating the variety that you need in the relationship. All right. Women need variety. Okay. They need it because where guys don't, like, literally most of us dudes could live in like a 1-room apartment, have our few guns and few hobbies and few things that we like, you know what I mean? Have our toys. Some of you guys play video games or whatever, which I don't, but you have your video games and whatever, man. Like you could just literally do that. If you're taking care of your own personal needs, if you had a revolving door of Victoria's Secret models banging you every single day, and you had just all of your little things in your 1-room apartment and status didn't matter and none of that stuff mattered, you probably wouldn't do much else. You know what I mean? You'd probably be pretty damn happy. You might expand a little bit, but for the most part, guys just don't need that shit, right? Guys are always kind of expanding and doing things a lot of times because the sexual market says that they pushes them in that direction, and think about that. So why is that though? Because women, their hypergamous brain drives them towards variety, because variety means that they're always improving or changing. And so think about a survival situation with hunter-gatherer tribes. If you got stagnant, that could mean death. Okay. Because resources were limited in any particular area that you could be in, which is why they were, nomadic. Right. And so if a stagnant man represented a guy that could be leading her to her death, sticking around, doing the same thing, having the same resources, as those resources deplete, it could signal death to her offspring and death to her, right? And so women are striving for variety for that reason, not just of the sexual nature, but of just life in general. This is why dudes will be content, like, cool, we don't have anything to do on a Sunday. And then your chick's like, we should do this today. Like, why don't we go? And then they come up with some terrible idea. And the dude is just like, oh my God, I just want to like not do anything today. And now you want to do this, now you want to go on a picnic. We should go shopping for curtains, and you're like, what? Anyways, chicks do that kind of stuff because there is they get that cabin fever and they get bored quicker than dudes do. right? Women get bored faster than men, and they strive for that variety. And so get ahead of that and create that variety. Now, as a guy, I'm pretty driven, okay, and I'm pretty action. Like I like action. I like doing stuff. I personally don't like being stagnant for too long, and so that helps me in my frame with my LTR, and it's always helped me with women in my life. But if that's not like who you are, that's not your normal. Just be aware of that. Things are going well in your LTR. 11 years, she's in your frame, all that stuff. So you've been doing something right. Okay, doing a lot of things right. Just keep that variety going. Don't let it turn into a stagnant thing, because if it does, she may get bored with you, or she'll be happy and content and secure, but she won't have any passion. That passion will dry up is what it will be. A lot of women who are loyal and strive for security, they're happy. They're relatively happy with church on Sundays, date nights on Thursday, missionary sex once or twice a week, but they're not passionate about that after a while. And then you're going to turn around, or she might turn around going, dude, what happened to us? Right. And so there's my warning, I guess, if I had one. It's kind of hard to go in a direction there, but hopefully that helps out. Cool, man. Well, glad it helped. Glad it helps. What do you think about balding in your early 30s? I don't know. So here's my hair. I've been wearing hats a lot because I need to go get my hair cut and whatever. And I didn't care to do my hair today, but I got a full head of hair. and so so does everyone in my family. So I should be all right. I might thin out a little bit of gray, getting some grays here. You know what I mean? But it doesn't bother me, So I think though, if you're balding, dude, just shave it. I mean, and get that look. You can look real alpha with a shaved head. Don't try to hold on to something that's just sort of, going away. If it's receding a little bit, it still looks good. That's fine. But I've seen dudes, they start to lose it like up here in this area, and they start to really recede, dude. It's just like, and they're really hanging on to it and trying to figure out ways of keeping that hair, man. Don't just shave it off. You're always going to look better bald than balding, and I don't care if that happens at 25 or 55. That's pretty much how it is. And then get lean, get jacked in the gym. You'll look like an alpha guy, and girls will want to bang you. All right. Let's see. Yeah. Republic of Awesome says, I was balding at age 23. I just shave it all now. Exactly. Easy answer, right? All right. Well, I don't see any other questions, and that's cool. So I'm about an hour and 22 minutes in this thing. I think I'm going to cut it off and move on with some other things I want to do today. But I thought I'd dedicate some time to you guys today who are chilling and on a Sunday. But Valentine's Day can be a weird day for people. I forget that throw a thumbs up in the chat or a fire or something you like what we're doing. I'd appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to me, of course, most of you guys are, but if you're watching this later, hit that subscribe button, share the channel with your friends or something, because, I don't show up on algorithms, dude. And that is a shadow ban. So you will help me and help other men out by doing that, by sharing. But kind of closing it off, Valentine's Day can be a hard day for both women and men, actually. I don't know what I haven't thought that way in so long that I forget. I forget some things, you know what I mean? Some of you guys who just had breakups, are now like alone on Valentine's Day, and you're used to doing the what we could call blue pill thing on a day like today, and now you don't have anybody to do that with, and put you in a little state of depression or whatever. You got guys who are in relationships, and the girls expect this thing, and you don't know what to do about it. You know what I mean? It's that sort of thing. It can cause like this distress. It can be a reminder to people that they're not happy with their relationships or with women, or for women, a lot of times that's a big deal, because women are more interested in, social proof and social acceptance, and women who are not in a happy relationship or having what they want will, look at today, get really depressed about that and all that. Good day to hook up though, actually. hate to say that like that, but around Valentine's Day, if you're single, it's actually a good day to snag a girl. Even if it's just for something casual, because of that, she has that vulnerability, and she's going to want some sex to cure that vulnerability. But whatever, it's what she wants, it's what you want. I'm not saying do something sinister, but yeah, man. So all you guys, don't pick a special day that society tells you needs to be this special day where you demonstrate to the world that, you're qualifying to your girl the right way. You know what I mean? Or demonstrates to a girl that you really care about her, because you did all these things on the special day, or you did these special things. We see that too with weddings. Oh, I got her a big rock because that's what society tells me I need to do in order to demonstrate that I love her. All right. All that stuff is beta qualifying to a woman. It sends the signals that you're weaker. It sends the signals that you're not genetically fit for mating, and therefore you have to qualify to her. All right. And it sends the signals to her as well that you have an ordinary relationship, and ordinary relationships are unhappy. So just don't care about that. You do what you want to do. If you do something really cool on Valentine's Day or Valentine's Day weekend, you take off, go stay somewhere different, you know, stay with in a nice room or resort with a pool in the hotel room that you're in, like in the room, your own private pool or private jacuzzi, whatever. Like do something elaborate. Then do it, have fun. Do that Valentine's Day weekend because you want to do it, though, not because you're qualifying to anybody. You want to go grab some flowers or whatever, go grab flowers because you want to do it. But does anyone really want to spend triple the amount for flowers on Valentine's Day? I don't think that that's the case. But you do what you want to do is the point. If you do nothing, then do nothing. But the frame that you set is that we don't need a stupid day that society tells us is what we need, is our special day. We'll have our own special days. You know what I mean? And that's the frame that you want to have. Don't get caught up in this bullshit. Most people aren't happy. Most dudes out there simping for their girl or simping for some girl on Valentine's Day are not happy with their relationships with women, period. Okay, they're not. They might not even know or realize how unhappy they are, because that's how sad it can be for some guys. So yeah, you don't need to do that. Okay, you don't need to worry about it. These women have makeup and masks now. Well, you mean where? Where to go hook up with them? Well, dude, I don't know. If I go to now, for now, and I'm in Michigan, in case you guys don't know. Michigan's very draconian, okay? And our governor is probably one of the worst out of 50 states when it comes to COVID restrictions. Not for the benefit of anyone's health either, just because of how she is, and that's a whole nother thing, but whatever. But we're starting to open up in bars and taverns and restaurants, and if I go to a public place and I sit someplace, that mask can come off. I don't need to leave it on. But I think that you can visually tell, looking at a girl's body, if she's hot or not, for the most part. Not sure what her face looks like. Well, if it's a day game scenario, you don't need to close right that second. You know what I mean? And when I say close, I mean get her to bang you right there in the grocery aisle. Maybe you're day gaming her, you start a conversation, and you guys exchange Instagram or Facebook. So exchanging Instagram or Facebook is good because it gives her a chance to stalk you, which, if you're setting up your marketing plan the right way, as I teach guys, that Facebook or Instagram page will demonstrate higher value to you for you. So she'll see that you're higher value based on her stalking of your page. And then you'll have her page, and then you'll be able to see her photos. Now, if she looks hot when you see her, but she has a mask on, and then her face is hit in her photos on Instagram or Facebook, well, then maybe you don't pursue that, right? It's not that hard, man. Don't use the pandemic as an excuse to not have women in your life. All right. That's what you guys are looking for, reasons to not do shit, instead of looking for, okay, how can we do this? That's the thing. All right. Cool, guys. Thanks for tuning in again. Thanks for supporting the content. You guys have a good day. And happy Valentine's Day to you, good man out there.